The Millionaires, the third novel by Inman Majors, is a fictionalized account of the brothers who brought the World's Fair to Knoxville. It is also a smart, serious study of ambition and the nuances of social class in the New South. I spoke with Inman Majors in Mary Hewell Alston Hall on the campus of the University of Alabama. Inman, thank you for taking the drive and the time and the trouble to come on down here and have this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Where did you come from this morning?
Winchester, Tennessee.
And
that's where our grandmother lives.
And when we finish, you're going to do another television show in Nashville?
Yeah, I'm doing a word on word with John Siegenthaler.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
He's been doing that a long time.
Maybe
I know
longer
that.
than you. Even.
I think so. I remember it as something that was already going on. You're a Tennessee boy. I know that. And you have a lot of University of Tennessee connections, but you did not go there. Why not?
I would probably still be there. I had too many friends, and there were too many cute girls. So my parents had to get me out of town. I ended up going to Vanderbilt.
No cute girls at Vanderbilt.
No, there were a few.
But you made it through anyway.
I made it through anyway. Yeah, I was able to concentrate rigorously on my studies.
We haven't got time.
For lies?
For that.
Okay, all right, moving on then.
But, of course, we became acquainted when you came on down to the University of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I remember that strikes me as now oddest, since we're talking about your three novels, is that you came here to study the writing of poetry. Why did you want to do that? And why did you change your mind I know you must write some poems still, but you made a switch over to fiction.
Well, I actually thought, when I applied, I was applying in fiction for all these programs. At the last minute, I saw that Alabama had you could check both boxes. So I had 10 poems, so I threw the poems in there. I sent 2 submissions, and I actually got in for poetry and not for fiction. And looking back on it, my fiction story was not very good, and I had one good poem. And Tom Rabbit liked it, so I got in for poetry. And during the school year, I would study poetry. But I started my first novel that first summer, so I was here 3 or 4 summers. And I wrote my first novel during the summers, and I studied poetry. So I always wanted to try to do both. I haven't had time to do poetry lately. Just tough to get it published. But I hope to get back to it one day.
Yeah, you haven't forsaken it.
No.
Not exactly.
No. It's just so tough to get published, and it's if you write a novel, you feel like you got a pretty good chance of getting it published. I hope.
Yes, and if you write a novel, and you're lucky, it's like the lottery.
That's right.
You can strike it big with a novel, whereas it's unlikely that a book of poems will do anything spectacular.
Right.
The first novel is a very young man novel. In fact, the characters are all young men, swimming in sky.
Yeah.
That's the one you wrote in the summers?
Yes. I was a young man then, so that's all I knew. I wrote that first one, and I think from first sentence to publication it took 8 years. So it took a long time. That was a struggle to get that book published. It's gone a little faster.
It ended up in Texas, where
SMU Press, Southern Methodist
SMU,
University
right,
Press, yeah.
right. I remember reading that when it came out and thinking, there's a novel he's got out of his system now.
That's a good novel. It's not a good novel for a 60-year-old man, probably, but it's funny. All my books have different readers. That book, my college students like that book the best of my 3. That's
Really?
their favorite because it's a young guy. A lot of them it's a young guy who's just graduated from college and kind of finding his way, and I think they can relate to it. And mothers like that book a lot because they have these irritating sons that won't get out of the house, so they can relate to the mom in the book. Older guys did not like the book.
Well, those boys spend a lot of time on the couch.
Yeah.
And driving around drinking beer.
Yeah, that's what people do these days, Don.
I must get out more.
If you'd read it when you were 25, I think you'd like it better.
Well, I liked the second one very much.
Yeah.
Of course, I liked it. It was set partly in my apartment and partly in Egan's bar, although you did not name it as such, as everyone in town knew.
Well.
That book, Wonder Dog,
yeah.
And then, of course, the new
which
one,
is a comedy,
which we'll talk about the new one as well, has a lot of lawyers. There are a lot of lawyers. I mean, the protagonist of Wonder Dog is a lawyer. Your father is a lawyer.
Yes.
You are not a lawyer. How did you evade law school?
I actually applied my senior year in college and got in. And my dad was a lawyer, but he was really more of a lobbyist, and he never really he loved law school, but didn't love being a lawyer. And I just could envision myself not liking it. So Wonder Dog, the protagonist, is a very bad lawyer and a very bored lawyer. Is kind of me in some ways envisioning what kind of lawyer I might have been, which is not a very good one.
Well, the opening scene is wonderful when the client comes in and the young lawyer humiliates him and sends him away.
Yeah.
Never happened in the history of law.
No, they would not turn a client away, but that's how far down, that's how much my protagonist dislikes being a lawyer.
But your protagonist's father in Wonder Dog is the governor of Alabama.
Yes.
And it doesn't appear that way right away, but in fact, you've never strayed very far from the State House, the courtroom, the legal brief. All of your writing circles around the thing you didn't do.
Yeah, well,
politics and lobbying and law.
When I was young, I was actually thought I might go into politics. I was a student body president in middle school, and so I was an earnest young politician. And then my dad was a lobbyist, as I said, and so I spent a lot of time down at the legislature. And so I didn't realize at the time, but apparently I was taking mental notes. And so a lot of the characters in my books they're not exact replicas, but they're influenced by people I've come across. A lot of my dad's friends have read my last two books especially, and they say, well, you got the way we talk down right. And so I thought that was a good compliment.
Yeah, I liked Wonder Dog very much, and I confess, as I was reading it, I was thinking, this is going to make a great movie. So far, not, huh?
Well, the producer has it, so he renewed the option this past year, and so it's still in the works. It's a decent chance, I would
Good.
say.
Well,
until you see a movie, until it's a movie, it's not a movie.
No, and the road to Hollywood is filled with disappointments.
Yeah.
Everybody's got them, but it is a romp, and that gives us a chance, really, in a way, to move to the new book where we want to spend most time, The Millionaires. People who read Wonder Dog, do you think that the readers of Wonder Dog expected The Millionaires to be a comedy? Is there something going on there?
I don't know. I think, 4 or 5 pages in, you got to figure out that it's not.
Right.
I'll have to backtrack a little bit. All my books leading kind of one into the other. My first book, I wrote the first draft, and there were no humorous parts, and I thought, and I was over living in London with my brother, and I started reading P.G. Wodehouse and Kingsley Amis, a lot of these British humorists. I thought, I'm going to add a few funny, and an editor I was working with said I need to add a love interest. So as I added the love interest, I looked for a place to add humor. So I kind of enjoyed that. So that led to the comedy, which is Wonder Dog. And then Wonder Dog is a political comedy, so that got me thinking about doing a serious political book like The Millionaires. So they kind of just all have segued one to the other. I don't know what readers expect, but people that don't know me think all the books sound very different. People who know me think they see aspects of me in all of them. The voice didn't hit them as that different book to book.
Well, The Millionaires is not a comedy. It's not a satire. It is not a send-up of Southern life or Southern politicians.
Tell the New York Times that.
Yes, it is a serious piece of work.
Yeah.
It's partly, well, let's just say, it has a foundation in reality. That is, there was a Knoxville World's Fair. My parents went. They went on a bus full of oldsters from New York and went down to New York, and went down to Knoxville and did it all and went home and told me all about it.
Did they like it?
Oh yeah. It was a foreign travel.
Yeah.
As far as they were concerned.
Yeah, sure.
There were a pair of brothers who were responsible for bringing the fair to Knoxville over enormous odds, because Knoxville's not a very big or very distinguished cultural place. The real brothers were?
The Butcher brothers. And so I was a kid. I was in middle school and high school. One of the brothers ran for governor as well, and they were just really exciting. You know, Knoxville is a good place to grow up. It's a nice town. It was fun, but it wasn't the most exciting. Well, these guys came in and started. I always said that they had banks everywhere. they're in the news all the time, and they're running for governor, and now they start talking about this World's Fair, and people were very skeptical. You know, you think Paris, Chicago, New York for World's Fair, you don't think Knoxville. And these guys pulled it off, and it was a successful fair.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the New Orleans Fair, which lost a lot of money, it was a bust. I think it broke even or made money. We had, you know, the London Symphony coming through. In 6 months, I promise you, in 6 months' time, Knoxville had better culture than New York City. We had Baryshnikov came through, or Nureyev, one of those guys, and it was just night after night. You have country music, classical music, and so I really liked these guys, and admired their kind of gumption. And then the day after the fair closed, the feds kind of came down and closed their banks up, and so they went from really being very high to very low very quickly. And I wasn't glad about that. Some people, I think, like to see them get their comeuppance. They were confident guys, but I was disappointed in that.
Well, you've made them into the Cole brothers.
Yeah.
And there are two brothers, Roland, who's the one who runs for governor, who's in some ways has more gravitas and just generally a more self-contained, self-restrained creature, and JT, who's something of the wild one.
Right.
But not he's not out of his mind or anything, he's just a little friskier. Tell me in kind of sociological terms, their father owned a little bank? The Cole brothers
in the book,
in the novel.
In the book, yeah.
So they come. How do you to an absolute outsider, somebody from Minnesota, how would you place the Cole brothers in terms of who are they? Where do they come from?
That's one. I'll backtrack a little bit. The one of my problems with a lot of Southern fiction is there's only two types. You have three types. I guess. You have the aristocrat, and you have the very poor, unsophisticated types, and then you have the zany aunts and uncles. And so my whole life, I never saw many of those. I saw all kinds of Southerners, and I never saw the people I saw walking down the street or when I go to Winchester to visit folks. And so these guys are probably 2 generations off the farm, but they went to, the guys in my book, they went to a small college, and so, and they're not bumpkins. They're not as polished as probably their family would be 2 generations down the road, but you know, they like a martini probably more than a long neck beer.
Well, that's funny. When Roland runs, do you pronounce it Roland?
Roland. Yeah.
Because I have an Uncle Roland.
Oh yeah. Okay.
When Roland runs for governor, one of the things that they have to decide is how they're going to pitch the campaign.
Yeah.
His opponent may or may not have control of the overhaul or of the overall vote.
Right.
That is to say, overalls.
Right.
Not the overall vote, the overall vote.
Right.
So they have to figure out if he's going to go as a blue collar, railroad engineer covered with oil, or if he's going to go as a more sophisticated type.
Well, in the book, the irony is the guy he's wearing a railroading ensemble.
Yeah.
And he's trying to really appeal to the rural vote and the conservative vote and the generally Republican vote, is the son of doctors. And so somehow and Roland, the book is really influenced a lot by my parents' generation, which is 3 of my 4 grandparents were farm kids. The other grew up in the metropolis of Lynchburg. And that's the generation that moved from the small southern towns and the farms to cities like Knoxville, Birmingham, Nashville. And to me, they've always kind of seemed to have one foot in the rural past and one foot in the urban present and future. And so Roland and his brother do not like being thought of as, they don't want to have to, they've escaped the farm. They still respect the farm, they're still like that, but they want to be thought of as urban and cosmopolitan and sophisticated, and that their campaign manager keeps saying, no, we gotta get you in a pickup truck on the farm if you want to win a vote in Tennessee. Right. And so they struggle with that. They do.
They have to shoot some of the campaign ads as if they were still small town boys.
Right.
Now the complaint among the Tennessee aristocracy in your novel is that the Cole brothers are presumptuous. They're coming on.
They're new money.
Too fast, too far. I mean, these are striations that are unknown to, any reader in Connecticut.
Well, you don't see much of it in Southern fiction either. Like I say, it's either You got the Walker Percy aristocrats, or you got the the dirt poor folks. In the book, and there was an old guard, I think probably in every city, that they like it the way they are. They like to see it the way it is. They're in power. So these brothers are saying, we're smart, we're capable. They understand that if you want to have a say in government, even in the city or state level, it helps to have a little money. And so they're trying to crowd their way in, and the old guard doesn't want them. And they're saying, why do we have to accept the city of Glenville? It's not Knoxville. Yeah. Why can't Glenville have a World's Fair? Why can't we be as big as Nashville? Why do we have to keep it the way it is just because you're settled with it? So I'm pulling for the brothers in the book. I don't know, but a lot of people think they think they're new money. And my whole point is the whole South is new money, just about.
My feeling at some point was that the people who were resisting the Cole brothers, first of all, they were very subtle. I mean, they have the power, and it's behind closed doors, and it's old money and old political connections.
Right.
It's almost as if, this is unspoken, but you can tell me if you agree. It's almost as if perhaps the Coles' children should be running for governor. Or perhaps even more ideally, the Coles' grandchildren, but not yet, not these two, not yet.
Yeah, they're not doing the things, they're not glad-handing, they're not being hat in hand. If you want to do it, you're supposed to be hat in hand for a generation or two, make your inroads, like Joe Kennedy did. Joe Kennedy he had political aspirations, but he was too brash and too fast. He had to eventually get patient and let his sons do his bidding.
Yeah.
And so, the Coles don't want to wait.
Then this...
I don't want to wait either.
Two things I want to ask you about the narrative devices. One is, of course, Mike Teague, who's a professional lobbyist, professional campaign manager, professional know everything. I mean, he just understands Tennessee politics apparently backwards and forwards. He's a good guy, right?
Yeah.
And he gets them.
Yeah.
What is it that Teague gets about the Cole brothers that in a sense marks him as special?
Well, it's a lot like the way Nick Carraway gets Gatsby, and you taught me that book in your class, is that Carraway gets Gatsby is not just a cheap bootlegger. The money's a way to an end. He could care less about the money. He wants the girl. He has a dream for himself. He wants to be big and large and has a conception of self that is not, he's not going to let society limit him and let society define him. And I think Teague admires the Cole brothers for much the same way. The world wants them to say, you're this. And they want to say, no, we're not. We're not just that. Why can't we be this? And so I think he admires their ambition and their frank ambition and their sense of their dream of what they could be.
Yeah.
Because Teague is a very pragmatist and a realist, and he kind of, I think he's kind of living vicariously through them.
I was very disappointed, even hurt, when the Cole brothers put Mike Teague at legal risk.
Yeah.
They fooled this man into signing a document he didn't really read or understand, and the potential for life-altering trouble, including prison, was there.
Right.
How big in your ethical system in this novel, how big a crime was that?
Well,
that the Coles perpetrated on Teague?
It's bad. They're friends. It's very bad. The Coles, I think, they think they can get away with it. They think this is a short-term deal. Right. They're not trying to hand the bag off. This is a short-term solution until they need another loan, until they get the money to cover it. They're constantly convinced that they can cover it. And it wasn't just Teague, they did it to lots of people. They weren't trying to screw anybody over. They just thought they could get away with it, and they didn't.
Well, they were moving money from one of their banks to the next, and to the next, and to the next, until the feds caught them.
Yes.
There was no criminal intent then. Is that something we could say?
No. I think it's just negligence and arrogance and overconfidence. They were not trying to screw their friend over. They thought the friend would never know that the loan would be made good sooner or later, and none's the wiser, and we're going to be flush again. They're kind of flush one minute and not the next.
And to make the world believe even more firmly that they are filthy rich.
Yeah.
They throw a great big party. And if Mike Teague is a Nick Carraway figure, the party is straight out of Gatsby, an extravaganza.
It's hard not to, the two books that probably, I'd say Gatsby influenced my book, that book more than, I mean, mine's much larger. Gatsby's such a pretty small book. My book's 408 pages, and I'm doing scenes of screenplay and a bunch of crazy stuff like that. That's not very traditional, but that party where it was a fun scene to write,
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that party.
At the tennis court in back of the mansion.
Yeah.
The net's wrong.
The nets are taut.
You're supposed to loosen them.
You're supposed to loosen them. And
now
Teague is married well, and so he knows that they should put the tennis nets down. And apparently, no one has told them that.
That's right.
So that's a nice moment.
It is, and it's very Fitzgerald in the sense that it's the little things that the rising plutocrat doesn't know, couldn't possibly.
And and the Cole brothers are good athletes. And during that scene, Roland talks about how he and his brother come out there and hit it around a few times. He goes, I think I could have been good. And then Teague, who does play tennis and has kind of been around more, he goes, it's like tennis and golf. You have to have lessons and play at a young age, which is only the well-to-do.
That's right.
That's only available to the well-to-do.
Yeah.
So the Cole brothers are very clear about where they came from, and I don't know if they have a chip on their shoulder or not, but they definitely are not going to let themselves be defined by others, which I like.
How do the women in this novel? Now, the book is about the two men, and
the women are good though too. The women
are good,
yeah.
but they're there to help to illuminate, I think, the men.
Maybe I think that's the way it looks from the outside in. Really, I was trying to capture a generation of women before there were many jobs. This is set in the late 70s and early 80s. There are not many job opportunities. So I think the book is trying to capture the frustration of some of these smart, capable women who are, maybe every bit as ambitious and every bit as talented as their husbands, but society doesn't offer them those opportunities.
Well, one of them is a sort of a semi-professional girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, she moves from powerful man to powerful man.
And she's the one that really works. She works down at the legislature, and so she is the most independent, I guess. But there's something harmful about that, the nature of her relationships with men. So
Teague's gone straight, though. Teague used to be a player, but now he's gone straight.
I had to have one person that had gone straight.
And Roland, I think, is straight by the end. I mean, he's kind of passed through a little storm, and he's all right. JT is not going to straighten out.
Well, to prepare for this book, I read a political biography. I read nothing but political biography for about 4 years, and there was a high percentage of politicians, men in power, who I think, especially before the current era, that thought that certain rules of matrimony didn't apply to them. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson, that gang.
Even Eisenhower.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Right.
Why should they all be Democrats?
Right.
There is a wonderful scene in this novel. We don't have time to dwell on it, but it is the hawk's eye view, although it may be a human eye, of people going into the football stadium, going across the great concourse, and how some attract your attention because of their gait and the way they wear their suit. You've been around football all your life, and if I'm not mistaken, you're about to start, or you are now writing a football novel?
Just started a football comedy. Yeah.
What is it?
It's going to be about the tour in the summer. A lot of programs do, where they go visit the small towns and kind of meet the home folks. It's like when Nick Saban goes to the little small towns and meets the booster clubs.
Except,
I haven't.
What state?
I haven't decided yet.
All right.
I may not name the state. It's going to be SEC.
Yeah, of course it is. Right. And what's the time? What decade?
Current time.
Current time.
Yeah.
When are you going to finish? You're writing faster all the time.
Year and a half.
Okay. All right, you finish it. We'll read it, and then we'll sit down and talk about it again.
Hey, I love it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. This has been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.